Today, we are joined on our Citizen podcast by Sarah President, Colleen Makhubele. She's going to be speaking to us about her policies and the latest developments in her party. Of course, we know it's election season and political parties are going to be coming here to tell us exactly what they can offer to South Africans. Good morning, Ms. Makhubele.
Good morning, Itumeleng, and good morning to the viewers and listeners. Thank you for having me.
Great stuff. So let's get right into it. Sarah is a new political party. How did it start?
Look, SARA was a concept back in July last year, 2023. It started out of a group of minority parties that came together to say, how do we tackle 2024 elections then? We had worked together to take government in the local space, both in Joburg and Ekurhuleni. Tshwane was on the cards. And we felt that the work that we had done as minority parties to raise the voice of minorities, to bring their significance once again to the fore of the South African politics, we needed to build upon that to have a national and provincial impact as well. And a couple of parties came together at the time, I think almost 12 parties that we used to meet and discuss this concept, but many fell by the wayside for various reasons. Some parties felt the policy direction as we were workshopping it at the time did not suit them. We are not the far left, and land issues are important, but they're not urgent for us. So there are parties that focus on land and a whole lot of issues around Africanism, etc., and socialism. So their ideologies were clashing. So we're happy to part ways. Some parties came back and felt, look, according to their consultations with their structures, they would like to go at it alone. They feel that they can tackle these national elections alone. And they fell off by the wayside as well, and some of those parties included the Shilova, the BOSA, APC, and PSC, others. And when we had concretized who we are, we then started to involve more of the presidents of the different parties that we're now discussing seriously, how do we collaborate? And we all agreed to say, in order to be effective in this 2024 elections, we don't need to go at it individually like perhaps the moonshot would be to say we're in a bloc but we're different parties. We have to come up with something that is unique, formidable, a strategy that will not waste votes, a strategy that will consolidate our resources, because we don't have the vast resources like the other big parties would have. Something that will ensure that we reach far and wide the country, because as minority parties, your constituency sometimes is limited to where you can reach, right? Especially if it's local to Joburg or to Ekurhuleni or any other municipality. And that's how then the idea to say, let's register a political party that will then become an alliance that all the different parties that, buy into the vision will then channel their membership and resources to this political party, at least in the foreseeable future, for the purpose of the 2024 national and provincial elections. Then we'll see how it grows after that. And then we'll see how to then put the best foot forward for ourselves, in terms of who are the right quality, caliber leaders that South Africa needs, that we can put at the forefront, looking at what we want to tackle, what kind of portfolios and what kind of skills and leadership skills that we can put for South Africa to see. And also we looked at the moral values that also bound us, what kind of moral values we want South Africa to be able to understand we bring to the table. And with that, we ended up registering Sarah, and which was registered finally in December. And of course, unfortunately, COPE was part of the process. They fell off, which really then changed the structure of SARA. Instead of it carrying different parties, it became a political party that now has members and people that are within SARA itself and joining as a party. It became a fully fledged political party, still with alliances to it. but it is really a registered political party. We've got members and memberships. We've got alliances, whether it's civic organizations, political parties, churches, etc. So that's where the idea comes from.
Now I can imagine that the birth of Sarah came with some pains and perhaps stress and perhaps emotional challenges as well. Mosiwele Kota accused you of starting it without his knowledge, or perhaps going behind his back to form Sarah. How would you respond to that?
Look, it's unfortunate that somebody of his caliber would lie, in front of the nation in that manner. If you go back even to the footages of starting Sarah, you will find Likota there. You'll find him being one of the biggest advocate and proponent of Sarah. He's been with us from the beginning. In fact, he was instrumental, and I sat in most of those meetings with him in calling different presidents, especially those that are represented in parliament, calling them and recruiting them to join this Sarah Alliance, and he was tasked with that. And when we made all of those decisions to register it as a party, select a name, where I was also elected as the presidential candidate, he was sitting in those meetings. He may not have liked that I became the face of Sarah because perhaps he had his own desires around who should lead Sarah. And that is what I think was a problem. But in terms of his knowledge, that's a complete lie. And if he didn't do his job to go back and consult COPE as the leader of COPE, that does not exempt him, from understanding and knowing and supporting what we're doing. Because he came back in one of our first few meetings to say, no, as COPE were proceeding, when other parties were falling off, he gave that affirmation. COPE is on board, we're proceeding, let's go ahead, this is urgent. And he gave very beautiful, long speeches around what this means for him, to an extent where he said, if we can make this Sarah work and make it to be an attractive and alternative party for South Africa, he will indeed rest in peace and know that his struggle and what he fought for was not in vain. And those are heavy words that we all took to heart, and we made sure that despite any differences and challenges, we must make Sarah happen, in not only in honor of his memory alone, but he carries the hopes and aspirations of many in his generation who still believe the South Africa that they fought for is not what they see today. They want to see a credible alternative that can still fulfill the dreams which their forebearers and their friends and colleagues died for, in a most cruel and terrible way. Some still looking for their remains in the bushes, in the trenches. And they need to be vindicated for that work. And this is what Sarah also seeks to do. Besides that, it is a hope for the new generation. We want to appeal to the younger South Africans who may not even relate to that struggle, but who relate to their current situation and the future that they want to see in South Africa, which ANC, with all that it has given us in terms of liberation, it's just not the party to carry us to the future. So young South Africans are looking for a party that will carry them to the future and provide the hope and the kind of South Africa where they can prosper, where they can be productive, add value, and have families, be safe, be proud of a South Africa that is strong domestically and respected by the world. South Africa that is able to, provide for its children, whether it's education or health care or clean water, roads, power. That's what our young people are looking for. A South Africa that can give them opportunities, to express themselves, be creative, to do what they have gone to school to study for. And ANC is unable to give that. They've run their race. And we thought with Likota being there, he would be that bridge to that generation, and we honor that generation with what we, as those that are taking the baton from the older ones, can do, and they can rest assured that they've left a legacy and a country that will continue to carry their hopes and aspirations.
Now, Ms. Makhubele, Sarah has been accused of receiving international funding from countries like Israel. How true is that?
That's a blatant lie. We've been accused of many, many things. Funding to the tune of 100 million, some publications say 15 million. SARA has never been funded by any overseas donor. We are looking for those donors, and if they are there, we appeal to them. If our vision and what we are proposing, our policies, talk to them, and what we stand for, moral leadership and competent, qualified, merit leadership, and the policies that are market-friendly, that address the new gear that we'll talk about, that we are proposing. If it resonates with them, we're encouraging them to help us to fund SARA, because this is a mammoth task. It's a very expensive exercise. Thus far, we are being funded by mainly our members, the leadership of the party's funding. We've got a couple of business people that assist us with loans here and there to make sure that we get our message out there. And we haven't received any big donations, that is even worthy of declaring to IEC or to the public. I think the perception has been that because of the amount of visibilities and the posters that we have and how we've been pushing our work, people kind of assume there must be an overseas white donor somewhere. This is purely black excellence, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. This is purely black excellence, black business, black young people coming together to say, we're going to support this vision, let's do something. So SARA is a rainbow alliance, it's non-racial, and we are talking to other races to fund. We've got good promises. Maybe in the next 2-3 weeks we'll report something different, because we are starting to understand that we can't divide and slice ourselves any longer in terms of race and this and white business, black business. This South Africa is for all of us, and all of us have an obligation to make it work. And people everywhere, Muslims, Jewish, white, black, Afrikaners are even part of our alliance now, and they are donating, as members of SARA. So we want everybody to be part of this vision. And thus far, no, but we want them to come.
Sure. Guys, you're still sitting with the Citizen Podcast. Subscribe and share and like and tell people about our podcast. Now, Ms. Makhubele, you have been a critical figure in the government of local unity in the city of Johannesburg, probably more key or more famous than the mayor himself. Some people called you ambitious. Some people said you want to be the mayor. Even some people are saying you wanted to be president of COPE. What do you think about these claims?
Look, they're not far from the truth. I was the speaker of the city of Johannesburg, and we did an excellent job, very effective. We pushed clean governance. I held the officials and the politicians there to account. The executives of the municipality knew order. They understood the marching lines, and that's what I brought to the city, my experience, my qualification, corporate experience, and business experience, highest qualifications that I've had to stop now, and I hope to pick it up as a PhD in Management of Innovation and Technology. So I bring a lot to the table. And yes, I did want to be the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, because after what happened with the first Al Jamaa mayor, I realized that the city is in trouble. If we don't get competent people at the helm of the city, we are not going to solve the issues of the city. 70 billion rand, a complex city, the biggest economic hub in Africa, the biggest metro in Africa. You can't give it to somebody that does not have the merit, the competency, the moral values, and even the qualifications, to run it. I think it's a disrespect to the residents of the city of Joburg, what we have done, in terms of the mayorship. In the mayoral committee, there are also other people that could have taken up that space, competent people that I believe they have a lot of value to add. But because of politics, of coalitions, that was not possible for me. But I did raise my hand, and for good reason, because I felt after Dr. Mpho Phalatse, we deserved even much better, than what she offered. And she was a skilled black woman whom I respect, and I wanted us to take it a notch higher, not to drop the standard. And even with COPE, I did raise my hand. I didn't make it a secret to say, look, I'm a young leader. I've learned a lot in politics. COPE gave me an opportunity to be in a leadership position and to enter politics and to be a speaker of Johannesburg. It was through COPE. And I didn't want to see COPE go down like the way it is going down now, because really there's nothing left at this stage, because what people are looking for is a modern political party that resonates with the demographics of this nation, which is young, 18 to 45, middle class, people that desiring of a different kind of politics. We've been through the struggle politics, and we appreciate that. I've already alluded to that. But we are in the different kind of politics that must deal with economic issues, complex social issues that young people are facing in particular, global issues of technology and how to turn around this country to be a productive industrial country once again. And with due respect, very little can be offered by the current older generation. They've run their race line.
And perhaps politics is full of backstabbing and, downplaying, masquerading. What would you say, disturbs you most about being a politician?
Look, it's, that backstabbing perhaps is one of the most disturbing things, because, you can't even go to sleep with somebody that you had maybe dinner with, or you're sharing a heart-to-heart with, because everybody's always conniving, and unnecessarily so. It's almost like it's they've made it such a life and death situation. If they don't get this and connive and kill, literally kill, and pull this one down, therefore they can't move. And it's because we have people in the political space at this stage who have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose, but politics has become everything for them. This position of MEC, of mayor, or of this councillorship, it's the be-all and end-all. We don't want those kind of politicians. Hence, when we recruit, we want people that are social activists, people that mainly educated with merit, even if you're not educated, but are doing something with their lives, such that politics become a platform where they expand and extend themselves to do more. Outside of this, you can still survive and do others. And it becomes a call upon you to be accountable, to be responsible, to look after your own reputation first and foremost, so that you're able to look after the reputation of the responsibility that you're given. Because if I mess up, I've spent 20 years of my life developing myself, from educating myself. I studied overseas. I've got a computer science honors degree. I've got an MBA. I told you I'm busy with my PhD. I've done CFA. I belong to different bodies that hold me accountable. I'm in the board that controls board members in South Africa, the Institute of Board Directors. If I do anything that is untoward, I lose that status, and I can be held accountable. They will remove me from their organization. So I cannot afford to go and be corrupt, to go into anything that is under the table that is not clean. I cannot afford to have anything come out about me that will cast a shadow of doubt on my character, my integrity, and my moral standing. I'm also a Christian. I'm a born-again child of God. I carry that moral clarity as well. There are people that look up to me in the community that I go to church with, that if I do anything that suggests that I have cast a shadow on the faith that I profess to carry, it will be detrimental to me and my standing as a human being. So we don't have this kind of caliber of politicians. We've got people that had nothing else to do, unemployed. They managed to raise some kind of whatever money and get to buy people to sing about them and elect them to be in a councillorship. nothing to offer. And I think it also goes back to voter education. Voters must know, and especially going into local government, whoever you vote for as a councillor, as a ward councillor or a public representative has a potential to be your mayor. This is the person who has a potential. You're not just voting a councillor, you're voting a CEO of the city. Is this person worthy of it in character, in competence, in qualification? That voter education must come. And even now, going into the national elections, we're going to vote a CEO of this country, complex as it is. Who do you want to put in that position? Is that person worthy to represent you and to represent your interest and the country's interest at large?
And perhaps my last question, Ms. Makhubele. What are you offering voters? We have over 300 political parties. Why you?
We offer 3 critical things that I would like voters to know about Sarah. Number 1, and I've hampered on it, competent leadership that knows what they're doing, that have been proven to have a track record of clean governance. And where they come from, you can track and trace the leadership positions that they have held, whether in the community or in corporate or in business. We're not offering fly-by-nights, we're not offering scams, we're not offering anyone who will not bring value to where we place them. 2, moral clarity. Character and moral clarity has become very, very important. We cannot afford as a country anymore to choose leaders that have questionable leadership, because they carry that into everything else that they do within their portfolios. And it has collapsed this country. Corruption has collapsed this country. 3, we're offering the policies. We've got a new gear. The new gear, we've adopted the policies that President Mbeki had put on the table for us since 1996 to 2008. The country was going in a positive trajectory. 2008 up until now, we don't even know where we are. We have lost South African Airways. We've lost our roads with potholes. We've lost Eskom. We've lost PRASA. The trains are no longer running. You can name it. The school infrastructures have dilapidated. We've adopted some curricula that is taking us nowhere. Health, we can't even talk about health just because see the queues that are happening, the unhygienic environment that we call hospitals. You know, you name it across the spheres. Our young people are unemployed, the highest unemployment rate ever. In fact, we're almost the highest in the world with the highest unemployment rate of graduates. We've got over 1,000, I think even I'm maybe underestimating doctors, qualified doctors that are sitting at home without work. Where have you heard of that? But the gear that President Mbeki had brought onto the table was supposed to be, number 1, stands for growth, grow the economy to create jobs. The policies, the market-friendly policies that we're bringing, I guarantee you they're going to create jobs. And if they don't create jobs, we are going to ensure that the grants that we give to the unemployed are decent grants that are in line with a 3,500, the basic income grant or the basic salary that you're supposed to get as a worker in South Africa. Number 2, maybe even perhaps as part of growth, want to introduce the 24-hour economy. That will have immediately the unemployment rate. We are competing with the likes of the top metros globally, London, Japan, New York, etc., other 24/7 economies. You come to South Africa, 7 o'clock, everything is closed in this economic hub where the whole world descends to reach the whole of Africa. 7 o'clock, we're at home watching Yizo, Generations, etc. Where have you ever seen that? Why are we not operating like hospitals, like any other, even mines that are 24 hours? Because we can do that. And people, some of us, we work 24/7. I want to be able 10 o'clock to go and buy something at ShopRite, at Checkers, whether in Cresta or Sentin or in Soweto, whatever. And people then are working in shifts. You've created 3 shifts already by just creating this 24/7. You have killed crime because there's no space for crime now. Police are working 24/7, nurses are 24/7, security is 24/7, people are at work 24/7. You know, and of course, schools is a different issue, but you can have night classes, you know, other teachers come and teach them. A, under the G is for growth. A is for accountable, responsible leadership. I've spoken a lot about that. And what did I say? GEA. E is for the economy. We need to turn around the economy. What the GEA sought to do was to prevent us from falling into the debt trap. We are owing as South Africa now, I think it's over 1 trillion rands since 2008 to now. And every rand that we get in revenue in South Africa, just to bring it to perspective, 40 cents goes to paying public servants across the different spheres of government. 20 cents goes to paying debt. Daily, we pay 1 billion rands a day. Go to the National Treasury website, you'll see 1 billion rand a day, more than what we pay for our services, more than what we pay for the basic needs of the country. Only 20 cents is left to do all of these things that we are looking for: healthcare, education, service delivery, etc. We have fallen into a debt trap that if we don't do anything now, we're not going to get out of it. So it's important that we sort out our economy. We adopt policies, not socialist policies that are going to help us to come out of where we are. And it has been done all over the world. But the ANC government is not interested in that. R stands for redistribution, the grants. We believe in grants. We are offering even unemployed single men's grants. The highest unemployment rate is with men. The highest suicide rate is unfortunately with men, and especially black men. We need to support them. Some of these black men who are not working, they have kids. They are unable to support them because we have not made provisions for them. We want that. Redistribution, let's give people decent grants. It's an insult to give a graduate 350 rands. We must up it. But we're saying if our policies cannot create jobs that we are guaranteeing, within the first 3 months of office, we're going to halve this unemployment rate. Then we'll be redistributing, we'll give you grants. But it's not just going to be, let's kill the economy so that we give people grants so that they can be dependent on government and vote for us. That's not our proposal. We want self-reliant citizens, entrepreneurs. As part of our economic policies, we are saying to SMMEs, we are going to cut down the taxes up to a 5 million rand of revenue. We're not going to allow them to pay taxes to comply to the labor regulations that are cumbersome for them. We're going to give SMMEs tax breaks and breaks on those regulations so that they create employment, they create jobs. What are they doing now? Because of these heavy labor regulations and tax implications, they avoid them and they go and employ foreign nationals. And then we are creating another burden socially and economically as well.
There you have it, guys. This is Sarah President Colleen Makhubele. She's talking about gender parity, recognizing the struggles of both men and women individually, the upping of the basic income grant or SRD into something better for graduates. And she's also speaking about introducing gear into the economy and ensuring that we have less debt so we can ensure that there's more jobs. Ms. Makhubele, any last words?
Look, I want to encourage South Africans, please go and register to vote while the window is still open. It's important that young people participate in this democracy. It's about time that you stop allowing your grandmothers and your grandfathers, your aunties, uncles in the villages to select your leaders. Then you come and complain on what these leaders are not doing. These leaders are serving the constituency that voted for them. They are giving them the grants that they want. If you want jobs, if you want opportunities, if you want clean water, electricity, power, go register to vote. Vote, Sarah. We are giving you the leadership that is going to give you the future that you want and you deserve as young people in South Africa.
Great stuff, guys. Catch the Citizens Podcast next week as we have another guest telling us why you should vote for them.